Hello everybody. Now we would like to present the changes for the season for single and pair, and for either for judges and for technical panel. The changes are in two communication that are the 2253 related to the scale of value and communication 2254 that are for level of difficulties and GOE. This year, these two communications are separated respect to what it was in the past season, in which there was only, everything was summarized in only one communication. One of the changes is the definition of the overrotated jumps. And a jump, it is overrotated when more than a quarter of the revolution is done. It is called a jump with a higher number of revolution in this case. For example, a double toe with more than a quarter of the revolution will be called triple toe downgraded by the technical panel. And now we can have some examples related to this.
Okay, so in this example, we have a skater who is attempting a double loop and is landing forward. So this means that it is over-rotated more than a quarter revolution. So in this case, it is called as a double loop downgraded, not single loop.
You can see in slow motion.
So here we can see one revolution and 1.5, a little bit more than 1.5. So it's a double loop downgrade, the call. And in this example, the skater is going for quad flip, but is actually rotating triple flip. So we can see the landing here. So the landing is over-rotated a little bit, but it's not quarter or more. So then we still call this jump triple flip. We don't call it quad flip down. So this is very important for the technical panel and for the well-balanced program requirements.
Another important issue is that in the short program, the final GOE must be -5 if the element is not according to the requirements. So that means that, for example, a jump element that has a wrong number of revolution, or a jump is repeated in a jump combination, the GOE, whatever is the quality of the execution, will be -5. And here we have some examples of this. So for example, the wrong number of revolutions. So for the junior main short program is double loop plus double toe. And this is not according to the requirements, so it goes to -5. And for example, you have a repeated jumps. So you have a triple toe as a solo jumps, meant to be a 4-toe, but turns into a triple toe, and the combination is triple flip, triple toe, so there is a repetition, and this jump combination has -5, even if there is no any mistake in that.
So the skater is not allowed to repeat the same jump in two different jump elements in the short program. It's still allowed to do in the jump combination. You can do, for instance, triple toe, and let's say triple flip as a solo jump. So that's okay. But in two different jump elements, if the skater repeats the same element, the same jump, then there will be the asterisk and the -5 from the judges. So this is an example in the short program with triple lutz. And there is a kind of a step out, a clear weight transfer in between the two jumps, the triple lutz and the double toe. So the technical panel will call it triple lutz combo double toe, and the judges will have to give a -5 for this element.
Another big news is related to the Euler in between two jumps. And single Euler missing half of the revolution or more will be considered as downgraded. And in this case, the judges will apply the reduction of the downgraded jumps. And the jumps will have the sign of the downgraded. So this is not new. This is something that was also last year. But the news is related that if the single Euler is missing less than half of the revolution, will not be considered under-rotated by the technical panel. And so no sign will be will be put in the protocol. And if the single lawyer is not clearly jumped or is executed as a step over, the judge will apply a reduction in GOE. So the fact is that the single order will be or for the technical panel without sign or with a downgraded sign. There will be not anymore the under-rotated sign for that. And the reduction, if for the GOE, if the Euler is executed as a step over, is -1 to -2. And the Euler could have a missing of rotation, and but is not declared under-rotated, but the judges has to apply a deduction, and or the Euler is not clearly jumped and remains more a step over because of the direction, and the jump, it is clearly not correct. Again, we can have some examples now to see these situations.
Okay, so in this example, we have the skater is doing a triple toe, and then the single Euler, and you can see that it's clearly forwards, landed forwards, and then a double flip in the end. So it's a jump combination of 3 jumps. It will be called triple toe, single Euler, double flip. And when the judges see the sign of the downgraded, they will have to apply the deduction, which is -3 to -4. In this example, we can see that the Euler is not clearly jumped, but is more like a step over immediately, like a little hop, and not really jumping clearly in the Euler. Even in this example, we can see that it's missing rotation as well, but if the technical panel doesn't put a downgrade sign into this, the judges, they still have to reduce from -1 to -2 because the Euler is not clearly jumped. So the judges have now more responsibility in evaluating the Euler in the combinations. Here we have a good example when the Euler is missing clear rhythm. So you can see that there is not clear rhythm in between this jump combination, and also the direction of the jump is changing a lot. So there has to be a reduction in the GOE. This example is last season. This Euler would be under-rotated because it's missing quarter revolution or more. But this season, the technical panel would not call this single Euler under-rotated, like Fabio said. It's only evaluated as downgraded, and this Euler is still okay for being completely clean for the technical panel. Also another example of the same situation where the Euler is missing less than half a revolution, so it's only missing revolution a little bit. But the judges can still evaluate the quality, of course, of the whole jump combination. And they can decide if it affects to the overall flow and quality of the jump.
The under-rotated sign has a bit less penalties than last year. So it goes the deduction for the GOE from -1 to -2. And the other rotated jumps will get 80% of the value, the base value, respect the previous 70% of the value. So there is a little bit less penalties respect last season, either in the reduction of the GOE, either in the value of under-rotated jumps. And that because last season it was changed the definition of the under-rotated jumps, in which should be the quarter or more than a quarter, and that makes much more severe the penalties for this kind of mistakes. So this year we decided to go a little bit more in favor of the skaters, giving a little less penalties either in the base value, either in the reduction of the GOE. The same situation, so that goes from the 80%, previously was the 70% of the full value when there is a wrong edge for flip and lats. And that becomes the same percentages like it was before of the under-rotated jumps. If both signs are present, so either the under-rotated and the edge sign, the 60% of the base value will be awarded, and that it is like it was last season. If there is a long preparation in the jumps, the deduction for the GOE goes to -1 to -3. And in spins, if there will be a loss of balance, the reduction goes to -1 to -3.
Okay, then we will move on to the step sequences. And for the technical panel, there is a little change in the wording concerning one feature. And the feature is 2 different combinations of 3 difficult turns on different feet in the step sequence. And last year, the definition was that you need to do it with clear rhythm. And many people confused the rhythm with music, that the skater has to do the series to the music and with the rhythm of that music. So we changed the wording into the combination has to be executed with continuous flow. So there cannot be any breaks in between these turns, but there must be flow all the way through, and this can be demonstrated that the knee bend, and you have the flow all over the combination, and you might need a little bit longer entry curve, for instance, for some turn, and that is okay. So that is not breaking the rhythm or a flow inside this cluster, this combination, so that is okay. We also clarified in the technical panel handbook that the difficult turns and steps, we have 6 different ones, that all the turns need to be executed on clean edges. This, of course, was always true, but now it is more clearly written that they really need to be on clean edges. For the complexity, there is also a clarification. So the skater needs 11 difficult turns and steps for level 4. This is like before. And they need to do 5 types of turns and steps in both directions. And we wanted to clarify what the word direction means. So it means where the body is rotating during the turn. So if the body is rotating to the left or to the right during the turn. So for example, if you have a left forward outside rocker, the body will be rotating to the left. If you have left forward inside counter, the body will be turning to the left, not to the right. So some specialists understood because the entry curve, when you have a left forward inside rocker, the body is first rotating in the curve to the right, but the actual turn is happening to the left. So this is what we mean in the direction where the actual body is rotating during the turning process. In the positive bullets for singles, we have some changes and clarifications as well. For the spins, step sequences, and choreo sequences, we have added and or in between the creativity and originality, so it can be either. So for native speakers, there is a slight difference in between these words. For many speakers, they are the same. But originality, of course, is always creative, but creative doesn't always mean original. So whenever the skater is able to produce something creative, you can award this bullet. And in the choreo sequences, we added one more bullet. So we have good ice coverage or interesting pattern. Okay, so what do we mean by interesting pattern? And we have 2 examples here for you. So this is the start of the choreo sequence. And we can see and note how the skater is using the ice surface, in which directions, if the skater is using bold curves, circular, or like this in this example, straight line, and combining these things together, not only using, let's say, going from short axis to short axis, but also from long axis to long axis. So using different way, moving on the eyes and creating different kind of shapes, that it's not the normal one.
Another example.
And another example. So in the first example, we saw a more straight pattern. In this example, we can see a more round pattern, more circular pattern, really bold curves, like in this spiral here. And we can see that the skater is changing the direction. So it's interesting not only going in the same direction all the time, but using the eyes in many different ways. And also here, it was the first part of the choreo sequence was very round, the circular motion, and the end of the choreo sequence was more like straight line. So this adds more variety to the program, and of course also to the composition of the program in the same time. And the choreo sequence and composition is very closely related together. Okay, then we have the GOE reductions in the single skating step sequences. If the step sequence does not correspond to the music, the deduction is a little bit higher than before. So it is really important when we have a step sequence that it really relates to the music. If the skater is totally off with the music, this is not showing very good quality. So the reduction is from -2 to -4. Also in the steps, it's very important that the skater is always on the edges. Like I mentioned earlier, with the technical panel, the turns need to be clean, but also for the judges, it's extremely important that the overall quality is good. And the reduction is from -1 to -3, depending on the severity of the error. We divided the poor quality of positions and the quality of turns in 2 separate reductions. Last year they were in the same box because we really want to emphasize also where the body is leaning during the turns, that it's a very good quality skating technique, what the skaters are showing during the step sequence. And of course, how well they execute the step sequence. For instance, if they are tired and they don't have enough energy to show during this sequence, then the judges can use the reduction of lack of flow and energy. For the choreo sequences, like in the steps, if it doesn't go with the music, it is from -2 to -4. Lack of choreographic movements, this is a new reduction. Really clearly, a choreo sequence means choreographic, something to do with the choreography of the program. So if the judges can't even realize that the choreo sequence was there, so definitely this is the moment when they can use this reduction. And if really the movements inside this sequence have nothing to do with the program and the choreography of the program, then this reduction should be applied. It is -2 to -3. The same as in the step sequence, if the skaters don't show enough energy and commitment during this sequence, judges can reduce from -1 to -3. And the quality of movements is, if there is poor quality of movement, it's from -1 to -3.
Okay, for the jumps in pairs, are the same situation like it is in the singles. So the under-rotated jumps goes to -1 to -2, and the Euler, executed as a step over, is again from -1 to -2. So the same kind of reduction that we have in singles is also for the jumps element and the throw jumps in the pair skating. And in pair skating, again, like Lena has said before, we have the same remarks about the continuous flow executing the 2 different combinations of 3 difficult turns. And one a little bit change is related to the crossing. The crossing is, last year, was the maximum distance between the partners was 3 meters. And now it was added the fact that it could be approximately 3 meters. Clearly, it was not possible to measure so clearly, so it was just defined approximately, and that means that a little bit of tolerance it could be there.
Okay, then we have the positive bullet points for pairs. This is what we just changed is the order of the bullets. So the actual bullets are the same, but we changed the order so that deep, clean edges, steps and turns is in the three mandatory bullets for +4 and +5 because we really want to see good edges in the step sequence. We used to have good unison and distance between partners as bullet number 1 last season. So now bullet number 1 and 4, they have changed. So now the deep edges, we emphasize this feature more.
Okay, and now we have the pair combination spin. That is a certain kind of revolution, in a way, respect the last season. And we have add some different features. So we are just reading the features of this element that are a little bit changed. So the first is that 2 changes of basic position of ball partner as the first feature. Last year was 3. So it makes a little bit easier to get this feature. Then the 3 difficult variation of ball partner, 2 of which can be in not basic position. And the partner must be in the not basic position. If they are doing both of them, they are counted separately. So this is another new adding about the 3 difficult variation. We have added the difficult entrance and the flying entrance. And if there is a flying entrance, this can be done only by one partner. And just to be precise, the other partner is not needed to be in a difficult entrance position. So if there is a flying entrance of one partner, this is valid as a feature by itself. We have also difficult exit, that it is something new. And the rest of the 2 features, so both direction and at least 6 revolution, are the same like it was before. So the whole package anyway is a little bit changed, and that must be pay attention on this element because it is something new. As I said, any flying entrance can be considered as a possible feature. And if there are not 3 revolutions before or after the change of foot executed by both partners, the pair combo spin will be marked with a V. So this is if there is no 3 revolution by both partners on both feet will be marked with a V. But if there is no attempt of change of foot by either partner, or if there are less than 3 revolutions on both feet by either partners, the spins will have no value. And for difficult exit is exit in a lifting or spinning movement or innovative movement that makes the exit significantly more difficult. So this is just an explanation of what it will be considered difficult exit being something new. In pair spins, loss of balance, it goes to -1 to -3 reduction in GOE, and that it is a little bit new as well. The positive bullets for the step sequence are like it is in the singles, so that we have creativity and or originality, and good ice coverage or interesting partner like it was done for single and already explained by Lena. And now we have some examples.
Okay, so here we can see how varied ways this couple is using the eyes. So here they are moving now towards the judges in this direction. Also in edges, going to the left, going to the right, changing positions, stopping, then moving again, going diagonally, then going retrogressing back, and using also here different shapes and formations on the eyes. So this makes the choreography more interesting and enhances this choreo sequence in the GOEs. Then we have some reductions in the pairs GOE chart. So poor pivot position in the death spiral. So if the man is clearly losing the toe pick in this element, the range of reduction is from -2 to -4. So really the toe pick should be on the eyes, and if you can clearly see that the man is losing balance and doesn't have the correct position, so this is the reduction to apply. Similar to the singles pairs, single step sequences, we have similar reductions in the pairs, so does not correspond to the music from -2 to -4. The poor quality of steps and turns, -1 to -3. Poor quality of body positions is the same as in the singles, and as well the lack of flow and energy. The only one that is different from the singles is the lack of unison and spatial awareness. We want the team, of course, even when they are separated, they are not always in a hold, obviously, in the step sequence, but when they are not in a hold, we can still see them as a unit, and that they have connection to each other during this element. The choreo sequence reductions in the pairs are also very similar to the singles ones, relating to the music, and the lack of choreographic movements, the loss of control and energy, and the poor quality of movements.
And now we have something related to the program components. As you know, since a couple of seasons, there is guidelines related to false or serious errors that can affect the components. And we have modified a little bit how to work on that, and we hope to be a little bit more precise than what it was in the past season. So if there is one fall or one serious errors, the three components, skating skills, transition, and composition, the maximum score that can be awarded is 9.75. And again, only for one false or one serious errors, performance and interpretation, the maximum score is 950. If there are false, so that means more than one, and serious errors, the maximum scores are listed, like in skating skills, transition, and composition, the maximum score is 925, and for performance and interpretation, maximum score will be 875. So serious errors are interruption during the program's technical mistakes that impact the integrity, continuity, and fluidity of the composition and or its relation with the music. After we have an example of this, it means that errors that impact the continuity and the fluidity of the program. For example, a serious errors could be also a wrong edge, but these do not influence the components because it is just an error that it is technical, but do not have any impact on the fluidity of the program. If there is a fall, if there is a step out, this clearly affect the continuity and the fluidity of the program and must be considered. There is also another specification that it is the similar limitation must be applied to all levels of skaters, from extremely poor to outstanding. Because somebody is thinking, because we are only saying that you cannot get a 10, you cannot get a 950 for some mistakes, but this is because the best skater clearly cannot get these marks if they could deserve a 10. But if skaters of lower level has false or serious error, the same kind of deduction has to be applied to everybody. So we would like to be sure that this is a guidelines for all the skaters, and it is not applying only to the skaters that have the best quality of skating and the best performance. And now we have an example that it's showing what I'm saying.
In this example, the skater is going for a jump and has a fall in the entry into the element. And here you can see that the skater is missing a clear part of the program after the fall in the jump. So the skater is not executing transitions and doing the composition that she's supposed to do during this part. She's not performing during this part. So it's a clear interruption, and this has to be shown in all the components, how it affects the overall presentation and composition of the program. Then we have some limitations where the judges can start their evaluation in the GOE if there are certain mistakes in the elements. So we have a list of errors where you cannot start higher than +2 in your GOE. So these errors can be, you can have a fall in the element, there can be a landing on 2 feet in a jump, there can be a step out of landing, there can be a wrong edge, downgraded jump. In the pairs, there could be a serious problem on the descent of the lift or serious problems on the catch of the twist. And both in the pairs and singles, if the step sequences and choreo sequences clearly don't respond to the music. So this reduction, as I said earlier, is bigger this season, and it also can be seen here that this is a big mistake if the step sequences and choreo sequences don't go with the music. So if there is any of these mistakes, the judge cannot start the evaluation higher than +2 and then reduce after that. And the next one is just a clarification that was added to the technical panel handbook. It was missing from there. This has always been in the rule book, but now we also added it in the technical panel handbook that any element in short program and free skating that is started after the required time, plus the 10 seconds allowed, must not be identified by the technical panel and will have no value. So let's say the program is 4 minutes, and it can be then 4:10. So if the skater starts the program at 4:12, starts the last element, let's say a spin at 4:12, then this element will not be identified and it will not be called in the protocol. Also a clarification regarding what the technical panel is, how they are checking the falls in the program. So they should be reviewed with normal speed and not with slow motion.
Okay, that's all. Thank you very much for your attention, and we wish a very successful season. Thank you very much.